WBTV celebrating 65 years today.
65 years old, WBTV, the first station in the Carolinas, the 12th in the nation, and I had a chance to sit down with North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory and talk about the station's legacy 65 years later. Check it out. And we are delighted to have with us today North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory, of course, former mayor of Charlotte, back in Charlotte, and welcome back home, Governor.
It's great to be back home, and happy 65th birthday.
Well, thank you very much, and that's what we want to talk about a little bit.
I didn't know Steve Crump was 65 years old, too.
Well,
or has he been working here for 65 years?
He's been working here for 65 years, and he hides his age very well.
He does hide his age.
He really does.
I think he's been interviewing me for 65 years.
Oh, really? So, started very early on in your career, then, I guess. Well, that's interesting. Speaking of 65 years ago, even though you aren't quite that old.
Some people think I've been around 65 years.
It feels like it sometimes, doesn't it? Especially being in politics.
But 65 years, that's quite incredible.
It is. What do you have memories of when you were growing up and when you were younger here in Charlotte? And there were only, just a handful of television stations back then. There weren't all the networks that we have today.
I'm not that old.
Right. Well, okay.
They had electricity. WBTV was it. It's the institution. And, you looked at this channel when you were growing up and watched Saturday morning kids shows, and they were institutional. And then the famous newscasters. And then, of course, during my, I got into politics in Charlotte in 1989.
You almost said 1892.
Yeah, some people think it's been that long. But I've had to deal with Steve Crump and Mike Kozin and the late, great Bob Knowles. And you guys were pretty tough on me, but you probably covered local politics more than anyone else. If you wanted to get the local political news, Koza would be there till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, sticking the microphone in your face, going, "Why did you do that, Mayor or City Council member?" So I spent many days and nights not only being interviewed by your reporters and anchors, but also right here at your anchor desk on election night.
That's very true. What do you think a television station's role in a community should be?
First of all, it shouldn't just be all about being on air. It should be about also being involved in the community, being involved in civic opportunities, being involved in charity. And that's where I actually got to know a lot of your reporters and your anchors, was not just because I was a city councilman and mayor for about 20 years here, but also because when I'd go to many charitable events as mayor or as a city councilman, y'all were often emceeing the events and helping advertise those events. And the other thing is, you helped me during times of crisis. During my 14 years as mayor, I had the 100-year ice storm, the 100-year snowstorm, the 100-year flood, the 100-year drought, and 9/11. So I was very dependent upon the media getting out the information, which could literally save lives. And I think the most emotional time for me in working with WBTV was on 9/11, because we had to reassure the community that another attack won't be occurring, and if it does, we're ready. Because we had the nuclear power plants, we had some Jewish synagogues that were very, very nervous about potential attacks. This city was nervous during 9/11, and it was up to newscasters, including your anchors at WBTV, to calm the community. And, I also had to deal with some circumstances where we had very controversial police shootings.
Yes.
I think during one year we had 4 or 5 shootings, which caused very high racial tension in the city of Charlotte. And I remember coming here and meeting with WBTV executives and going, this is an important time in our history. We need to be calm, we need to be open, and we need to make sure we're listening. And the future of our city was actually dependent upon how not only the politicians responded to these controversial and tragic shootings, but how the media communicated this, so it wouldn't stir up into something that could cause long-term damage to our city and also cost more human life. Well, so it's an important partnership that I've had, and I want to thank you.
Well, we appreciate it.
And I need it now as governor.
Yes, you do.
Both during good times. Heck,
good times and bad times.
I brought the same good luck. Since I've been governor now, we've had the 3 worst snowstorms or ice storms in 50 years. So I'm not good for that kind of thing.
Well, we'll keep covering it no matter what it is.
Yeah.
How about that? Governor, thank you so much.
It's an important relationship, and we appreciate you being part of this community and a part of this state.
Well, thank you, Governor.
Thank
we
you, John.
appreciate it.
And you are one of the ones who are toughest in my interviews, by the way.
Get out of it. All right. We thank you, Governor Pat McCrory.